Yeah, g'day. Yeah, this is a video regarding a pretty crappy tarp that I bought for going away with to use as an awning. I guess, you know, I can't see why you can't use a tarp as an awning. I often do. And yeah, it's to be attached to this van here. I'm just giving you a quick look while we get to the awning. And I've got a better tarp up the top here, but that normally attaches to the rear tailgate. I put up a couple of tent poles and create a bit of an annex. So we come around to here and here's the culprit. Here's the tarp. Now this is an epic fail in my view, because there's just nothing really right about anything, any aspect of it. I'm kind of stumped for words. Here's one that I would normally use, but it's a bit of a cheapie from the local hardware chain Bunnings, and it keeps the rain off you, but the problem is there's not much UV benefit to it. So I thought, look, spend a few dollars extra and get a little bit extra protection. So yeah, so I bought a 6x8 tarp off eBay under the title of heavy duty tarp. Now, keep in mind, you get what you pay for, but this one was certainly a little bit more expensive than the blue one I just showed you. We'll go back to that just to have a look. It's pretty thin and flimsy. You know, there's not much to it other than a bit of rain protection. So coming back to the tarp. So what we've got is, we've got the tarp, and I set it up at home just to, I don't know, I had a feeling about it for some reason, just to check it out. The first thing I noticed was, check it out, the ringlet, I've had to redo the ringlet. Luckily I had a kit, and I also used a bit of gaffer tape. That ringlet there is so far out of centre, it's not funny. Like if you look here, there's the ringlet, there is centre, because I measured it of course, and then yeah, up to the corner. Now the only heavy duty thing about this tarp is the actual corner bits. I'll give them that much, that is reasonable. But so we come along, and I actually didn't spot all this at first. I was too busy being annoyed about the grommet, the ringlet being, eyelet, whatever you want to call it, being off place. But then I noticed, yeah, this seam, it's all kind of folded over when it was machined. It didn't adhere properly. Up here it's good, it's what you expect, it's professional, close to anyway. And so that's cool. Then you come along here and you go, oh, hang on, it hasn't really, I'm gathering it's some kind of heat process, heat shrink, or maybe there might be an adhesive underneath, I'm not quite sure. So, but yeah, you can see here at the eyelet, ringlet, grommet, whatever the frick you want to call it, you can see there that it's folded over and it's no good. But check this out. It's not, yeah, the seam is basically, it's so out of whack. It's kind of the audacity of people who sell you this. It's obviously a factory second, like, you know, blind Freddy can see that. So yeah, come back here. So, you know, here we are at an even width, and then you come along here and you just go, what's going on? And then yeah, then it's folded over, so that's pretty bad. And then we get up to the corner, it's all come good, which I guess the corner is one of the main points. So all right, let's come around here. So yeah, so there's that bloody bit, not much good. I must admit it is marginally better with the UV. You can, with the blue one, you can feel it a fair bit on a hot day, to the point I started wearing a hat when I was under the tarp as such. So we come along here, and here's another eyelet which is actually off centre as well, but only by about 50 mil, or maybe even less, maybe only 30. And but once again, we've got a problem. Here, there's already a hole because the seam is not wide enough, and it's created a hole. I'll see if I can't get this a little bit closer to show you. Yeah, there you go, you should be able to see that. There's a little hole where you can see, yeah, sunlight. So the seam hasn't come out enough. So there you go, that's another epic fail. And we're not all the way around it yet. So alright, so as we go around again, what I've also noticed is, this corner's alright, but law of averages, you know, one of them has to be good. So what we have is, we have this eyelet here, and it should be about here. So it's way off centre as well. I probably should have marked it with the texture just to show you. But yeah, so you look at that little distance from there to there, and then you look from here all the way over to here, you can see it's off centre, so that's pretty bad in itself. Then what else, because when you're sitting under it you tend to look up and you notice, oh here we go, I'm not sure if you're going to see this, but along here you've got a line where the extrusion, if that's the correct term, the extrusion has not worked properly and something grabbed and it stopped there. So it's a thin spot and a weak spot because it's thin, but that's actually pretty good compared to what we are here. If you can see my fingers, I'm not sure if you can see this on the video or not, but literally you've got like a really thin spot here that is obviously going to be the first place to tear. I think you can see a slight line, but when you're sitting under it you can actually see like little dots of sunlight. And keep in mind, this is a brand new tarp, and as I said, you kind of notice things when you're sitting there, and just the uneven patterns in it, you know, there's nothing correct about this at all. But I've got to admit, slightly better UV wise, so we'll give them a point for that, and it may turn out that I can use it as a wall instead, so I'll get a better tarp for the ceiling roof part of it all, and then I'll drop this tarp down and use it as a drop tarp along here. And this might interest you. I quite often, hang on, I'll just grab it, I quite often grab one of these and I put it on the top of the tent pole to hold the tarp down. But what I've done is, it got suggested to me by a lady walking out of the bush practicing for hiking. It was just amazing. I was sitting there in the middle of nowhere and this lady just walks out the bush and we started, talking about stuff. And she suggested to me if you use a cable tie to pull against the guy line, the top can't come off because physics makes it pull it down. So I've done that. That was a really good suggestion, so good on her. And while I'm sitting here, to my surprise, I've always called these tent poles, but when I was having a cup of tea a little bit earlier, and give us a look. This is actually being considered a tarp pole. So there you go. So if that is the case, I am actually using this tarp in the correct manner. So it is expected that it can be rigged up as a shelter of some form. So yeah, that's a bit of an epic tarp fail really. Not much else to say. It's attached to the roof racks. Oh, there's my old handcuffs rusting away. It's attached to the roof racks via zip ties, which I cut and take with me at the end of the camping trip. And yeah, epic tarp fail. What a shocker, hey? But look, I'll tell you what, if that's my biggest problem while I sit here and look at the river, it's kind of not a bad world. So yeah, I'll leave it with you, but I would suggest some things are better purchased not online. Also my fridge, I might just show you my fridge. This fridge here, the other fridge I had purchased online, another 25 litre fridge that sat in storage for a year before I used it. I used it 4 times. It cost $330, a brand name Gecko. And yeah, and the thermostat went. It just wouldn't freeze. It was a bit weird. So I went to the shop and bought what is called, I'll give it a plug because it is actually a good fridge. It's called Brass Monkey. And unfortunately, I don't think it's getting the logo real good, but there's a couple of brass, you-know-whats. Yeah, so, and this one is good. It's a 25 litre fridge and it's a ripper. So, yeah, as you can see, there's a box of beer sitting there, and, yeah, when we're not outside under the tarp, we're in the van or we're having a look at the river. So, look, I hope you all have a good day, but, yeah, epic tarp fail. It happens. See ya.